Hello, 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 hello. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back. Hi, hoi, hoi. Here you see I already have pulled up the Commander and Dipshit's insane ramblings from today. But welcome. If you're new here, I am Chesh. I am the host and runner of the podcast and show Debate Hub. And it seems you have caught me on my standard channel, where I am a goober. So welcome to Goobersville, where we're here to goober, and goober away. Today we're talking politics, as we have been for the last little while, because things are kind of fucking crazy. So I'm just gonna set up our unleash the spice. Yeah, we got the goal is running now, and so if you would like to indulge in opening up one of these lovely little spice shots, we'll work with those. Again, if it gets over 20, we will do a full shot. If it doesn't reach 20, we do a dip. But alas, let me attempt to read this. President Donald J. Posted by Donald Trump, speaking about himself in the third person, because of course he does. President Donald J. Trump announced today that the United States of America will be putting what is known as a secondary tariff on the country of Venezuela for numerous reasons, including the fact that Venezuela has purposefully and deceitfully sent to the United States undercover tens of thousands of high-level and other criminals, many of whom are murderers and people of a very violent nature. Among the gangs they sent to the United States is Trendoagua, that was my Trump impression, which has been given the designation of foreign terrorist organization. We are in the process of returning them to Venezuela. It's a big task! In addition, Venezuela has been very hostile to the United States and the freedoms which we espouse. Therefore, any country that purchases oil and or gas from Venezuela will be forced to pay a tariff of 25% to the United States on any trade they do with our country. So, sorry, I'll get to the end of this. All documentation will be signed and registered, and the tariff will take place on April 2nd, 2025, Liberation Day in America. Please let this notification serve to represent that the Department of Homeland Security, Border Control, and all other law enforcement agencies within our country have been so notified. Thank you for your attention in this matter, to this matter. What? What? Oh, hey, Padme, good to see you. Welcome, everybody. Hi, hello. What? Pretty sure a judge has specifically told him not to send those people out of country. Something about due process, whatever that is. Yeah, I mean, that's how it feels, right? Like, so, the foreign the Enemies Act is from like what, the 1700s, and he ad hoc called it that he was doing it after the fact. So like, if you're going to like do something like this, if you're gonna be this stupid, trying to say, oh well, no, we definitely have a reason that we're enacting this act after we already did the thing. You're supposed to do that beforehand. You say, hey, we're invoking this act, and then you start doing the thing. Not, we did the thing. Oh, no, it's okay. This act says we could do it. It's just a piece of paper that says, I do what I want. You just have Mormons at the door. Oh, congratulations. Was that fun? How's he planning to enforce this shit? Okay, like, there's a few things in here that are just, like, This is insane ramblings. Like, that's not what a tariff is. We all should very well know what a tariff is by now, right? Like, we all know what a tariff is, right? Like, we've gotten over that. The American people Googled it after the election to find out what it was they were all arguing about, right? So they know that the tariff isn't paid by the country being tariffed. So Venezuela will be forced. If any country that purchases oil or gas from Venezuela will be forced to pay a tariff of 25% to the United States on any trade they do with America. So if they buy oil or gas from Venezuela, Trump's like, hey, you country, you decided to do something with Venezuela, therefore we're tariffing on you if you decide to send anything our way. That's Are you trying to isolate Venezuela for this alleged thing that they didn't do? Like, this is made up. Like, this is made up, right? Like, this doesn't exist. This is I just told them I was an atheist and they went, have a nice day. Well, something, something, something. Why are they trying to force things down our throat? I don't know. That's funny. At least they were polite. I. Anyway, so that's the update with the insane ramblings of the president in chief. That I just wanted to show you guys. Before we dive into Poilievre and Danielle Smith. Specifically, like, it also matters a little bit because Poilievre and Danielle are both conservative. They're part of the Conservative Party of Canada. We know for a fact that there was foreign election interference on behalf of or within the Conservative Party of Canada in the last elections, particularly in the internal elections to get Poilievre into the position that he is in as leader of the party. Now, it's also well-known, common information that Poilievre is an authoritarian. He doesn't like people talking bad about him. He wants everybody in the party to get in line. If somebody criticizes him, that is part of the party, he will basically boot stomp them and keeps the other conservatives under his thumb. That's one of the reasons why they don't like him. I don't know why they haven't gotten rid of him, but hey, what do I know? And as well, for anybody who doesn't know, for Canadian politics in particularly, we have an election that is happening on, I believe, April 28th. It is something called a snap election that was called or asked for by the leader of the current sitting administration. The current sitting administration, which is currently the Liberals, which would be Mark Carney. So he makes the request to dissolve the government. They're going to dissolve the parliament. It gets approved by the governor general, and off we go to the races. So that was announced on Sunday. It is now Tuesday. So you're going to start seeing political ads. We might watch some of those political ads. Some of them are very, very funny. So but I wanted to show you this. This is a guy named Stefano that I follow over on Blue Sky, but that's not the important thing. This is the important thing. Steve Mayer, confirms the conservative war room discussed trying to get a message to Trump to distance himself from them. Can't be a coincidence that Trump reversed himself and did exactly that a week ago. Not smart for the CPC, which is the Conservative Party of Canada, CPC, to be colluding with Trump's team. Then there's an excerpt that says, for weeks the Trump problem had been top mind for the conservative insiders. Two unrelated sources close to the CPC war room tell me that Poilievre's team had even floated going so far as to trying to get a message to the White House in an attempt to persuade Trump to distance himself from Poilievre. In recent weeks, according to the sources, CPC operatives talked about trying to get conservative MP Jamil Jivani to ask his former Yale roommate, Vice President J.D. Vance, to talk sense into Trump. Poilievre's office did not reply to messages asking about those internal conversations or whether Giovanni has spoke to Vance recently. So, and just to be clear, this was very clearly attempted. Let me show you. This is Breitbart. This is a Breitbart article. Now we here at the Goober Express do not approve of Breitbart. Breitbart's a fucking nightmare shit show, and they're awful, and we hate them. But that's okay, because you're allowed to dislike something and still, or dislike somebody and still take in information when they prove it. We don't judge that way. You know what I mean? Information is information regardless of where it's coming from. So, exclusive Canadian Premier Danielle Smith, Trudeau blew off tariff negotiations in first Mar-a-Lago meeting. So this is from the 8th of March, where she just goes on, and I'm not gonna go through the whole article. I'm more than happy to link it if you guys want to read it. But I'm gonna hit play and we're gonna listen at about the 6-minute mark.
Support a conservative prime minister in Canada. You're one of the few conservative premiers in Canada. One would think that a conservative prime minister would probably have a better time working with President Trump on these things, and it wouldn't be as tumultuous as what we're seeing right now. Is that something that you think is likely here?
So I'm going to answer the question real quick. And the answer to that question is no. It doesn't matter who you are. You can't work with Trump. He will throw you under the bus immediately. He does not care. Even if it is transactional and you did something with him, it literally doesn't matter. The way Canada and what the rest of the world is following along is basically how to deal with a narcissist. You cut off their narcissistic supply, and you set those boundaries, and you ensure that those boundaries are firmly in place and agreed to before you engage in any capacity. And I'm talking about not people who necessarily have like narcissistic, like that have been diagnosed. I'm talking about how you navigate a toxic and dishonest narcissist, because not everybody who has like this condition is equally as problematic. I think it's unfair to say otherwise, but alas, let us continue.
Canadian people ready to go back the other way here and go away from the liberal side that we've seen under Trudeau and whoever replaces him?
Before the tariff war, I would say yes. I mean, Pierre Poilievre is the name of the Conservative Party leader, and he was miles ahead of Justin Trudeau. But because of the what we see as unjust and unfair tariffs, it's actually caused an increase in the support for the Liberals. And so that's what I fear, is that the longer this dispute goes on, politicians posture, and it seems to be benefiting the Liberals right now. So I would hope that we could put things on pause, is what I've told administration officials. Let's just put things on pause so we can get through an election. Let's have the best person at the table make the argument for how. That's
what I told officials. I'll put this back again just so you can hear it.
How they would deal with it. And I think just put things on pause so we can get, seems to be benefiting the Liberals right now. So I would hope that we could put things on pause, is what I've told administration officials.
Is what I've told administration officials. That is communicating with the Trump administration to try to put the tariffs on pause so that way they can try to get Poilievre elected.
Put things on pause so we can get through an election. Let's have the best person at the table make the argument for how they would deal with it. And I think that's Pierre Poilievre. And I do agree with you that if we do have Pierre as our prime minister, then I think that there's a number of things that we could do together. Pierre believes in development. He believes in low-cost energy. He believes that we need to have low taxes. Doesn't believe in any of the woke stuff that we've seen taking over our politics for the last 5 years. So I would think that there's probably still always going to be areas that are skirmishes or disputes about particular industries when it comes to the border. But I would say on balance, the perspective that Pierre would bring would be very much in sync with, I think, where the new direction in America. And I think we'd have a really great relationship for the period of time they're both in.
Pierre Poilievre would be in sync with the Trump administration. Also, whoever this was that was interviewing Danielle here really needs to stop breathing into their fucking microphone. I don't know if you guys could hear that as clearly as I could, but I'm not even wearing headphones, and that was really uncomfortable. I don't like it, and I don't want it. But there you have it. You have a premier in Canada colluding with a foreign, with not just any foreign administrations and governments, an administration and government that has been threatening Canadian sovereignty and wants to annex us. I don't know what in the flying fuck that is, if not traitorous. This can't be legal, right? Like, I will clarify, I am just a guy. I'm not, like, I don't have a poli-sci degree, I'm not a lawyer, I haven't worked in government or have an administration, I'm not traditionally educated, I'm just a guy. I don't... This can't be legal, right? Right? So, if we go back to this one here, was there I think there was a citation as well. That's here's an example where this person had asked for a source and then they had found one. But for anybody curious, Giovanni is the middleman. That's him. So for anybody who's curious about whether or not that claim is legit, there you go. Get out of here. Oh, you're not gonna let me look at it. Rude. Fine, whatever. I'm gonna deal with that later. We can continue going on. Here, for example, this is Pierre Poilievre and his connection to Project 2025. Canadians cannot turn away. This movement is not an American one. It's an extreme right-wing national Christian world movement that includes Canada. Here's Pierre Poilievre and JD Vance's boyfriend, best friend, Giovanni, at an evangelical church doing their evil thing. Maple MAGA. Motherfucker, what is this? What am I looking at? Are you kidding me? Jesus Christ. What in the fuck? But if you're curious, to talk about, well, you know, maybe he has ties to America, maybe he's friends and engages in Project 2025 stuff, maybe this, maybe that. What about what Pierre actually says? What about what he has to actually say about things? Well, I pulled from Our Canadian Politics from a few hours ago, Pierre Poilievre's voting record, and a brief summary. Now, if you want to go through and look at the whole thing, you can. Here's the official source, but we're gonna look at the Reddit one real quick, just as a brief, and then we'll take a look real quick. Voted against raising a minimum wage. True. Canada's federal minimum wage applies only to federally regulated industries, banking and telecom. Pierre Poilievre, a Conservative MP since 2004, has consistently opposed... Let me make this a little bit bigger. Can I make this less fugly? Can we make this less fugly? Is that better? A little bit better. Hold on. There we go. Less fugly. Poilievre is a Conservative MP since 2004, has consistently opposed government intervention in wages, aligning with the party's free market stance. While specific votes on minimum wage hikes are hard to pinpoint without exact bill references, he voted against Bill C-48 in 2012, which included labor provisions, and his public rhetoric opposes wage control. Voted against the first home savings account program. True, the FHSA introduced in 2022 Liberal budget allows tax-free savings for first-time homebuyers. Conservatives, including Poilievre, opposed the 2022 budget Bill C-19, criticizing it as inflationary and insufficient for housing. He voted against it, though he's since proposed his own housing incentives. Voting against a $10 a day childcare. True, the $10 a day childcare program stemmed from the 2021 Liberal budget Bill C-30 and subsequent agreements. Conservatives, including Poilievre, voted against the budget, arguing that it was fiscally reckless. He's publicly criticized the program, favoring tax credits instead. Voted against children's food program at school. In 2024, Liberal budget Bill C-69 included a national school food program. Poilievre and the Conservatives opposed it, citing cost and federal overreach. Historical views on similar initiatives, 2019 motions, also show conservative opposition. True. Voted against the child benefits. The Canadian Child Benefit, or CCB, was introduced in the 2016 Liberal budget Bill C-15. Poilievre and the Conservatives voted against it, arguing it was poorly targeted and increased spending. Voting against dental care for children. The Liberal dental care program, part of the 2022 budget Bill C-19 and expanded in 2023, was opposed by Conservatives, including Poilievre, who criticized it as wasteful and duplicative of provincial roles. Voted against COVID relief. Poilievre voted against several COVID relief bills, like Bill C-14 in 2020, the Bill C-20 in 2020, which funded CERB, C-E-R-B, and wage subsidies. He supported some relief, but opposed the scale and structure, calling it blank check spending. Voted against middle-class tax cuts. In 2025, a Liberal budget, Bill C-2, included a middle-class tax cut. Poilievre and Conservative voted against it, arguing it favored higher earners and offset by other tax hikes. Voted against the Old Age Security Supplement. The OAS increased 10% for those over 75 was in the 2021 budget, Bill C-30. Poilievre opposed it, calling it discriminatory to younger seniors and fiscally irresponsible. What? What? Huh? Is this real? Are you serious? Are you fucking kidding me? What the fuck? This is what people call fiscally conservative. Voted against the guaranteed income supplement. Specific GIS increases, example 2016 Bill C-15, were opposed by Conservatives, including Poilievre, who criticized broader spending packages. True, although he's not opposed GIS in principle. Voted to ban abortions. Poilievre voted for Bill C-225/2006 and supported motions like Motion 312 in 2012, which aimed to revisit abortion laws. He has since said he wouldn't legislate on it as a leader, but his past votes align with pro-life motions. Voted against housing initiatives 2016 to 2019, partially true. Poilievre opposed several Liberal and NDP housing motions, examples 2018 and 2019, as opposition MP and as government MP under Harper. He supported market-driven policies over subsidies. Specific votes in 2016 and 2014 are less clear without bill numbers, but his record leans against interventionist housing plans. Voted to raise the retirement age. True, in 2012, Harper government Bill C-38 raises OAS eligibility from 65 to 67, later revised. Poilievre, a government MP, voted for it. True. Now, remember yesterday when I said we're gonna put like a little bit of a pin in when we talked about Mark Carney's concerns or lack of concerns for housing prices and the housing bubble. when we were looking at 2008. Do you want to know who happened to be the Conservative and Harper government's housing minister? Do you happen to know who that might have been? So when you, and I agree that it might be, historically, it looks like Mark Carney's decision-making in the banking sector attributed to the inflation of housing. You literally had a government who had the opportunity to fix that and adjust for it, because sometimes when you make an adjustment here, you need to make an adjustment over here to balance things, because that's how governments work and how economies work. And you've had this little shit voting against it every single goddamn fucking time. And the Conservative Party at the time doing literally nothing to help manage and juggle that. Ooh. I don't know what to tell you. Let's see. Voted to slash OAS CPP unclear. No direct vote to slash OAS and CPP exists in his record. The 2012 OAS age hike didn't cut benefits outright, and CPP reforms have been incremental. This claim exaggerates, and it's unclear without specifics. Voted for scabs. True. Poilievre supported Bill C-525 in 2013 and similar measures under Harper that weakened union strike rights, implicitly adding replacement workers. Scabs. Voted against the environment nearly 400 times. Unclear. Nearly 400 times is unverified hyperbole. Poilievre has opposed the carbon tax and climate bills, and likely dozens of times, but no tally confirms 400. Plausible, but exaggerated. Refused security clearance. True/false. Poilievre held clearance until it expired, at which point he did not renew it. His clearance was also something specific. It was his MP clearance, not the clearance that he has had access to for the last 3 years that he refuses to do. Claims stem from 2024 speculation about foreign interference, but no evidence shows Poilievre refused clearance, except for the times where he says that he's not doing that. He's criticized Trudeau on security, not avoided it. False unless proven. Instructed MPs to keep silent on gay rights. Unclear. No public directive exists. Poilievre voted against same-sex marriage in 2025, but has since avoided the issue as leader. Silence may be a strategy, not an order. So there have been conservative members who have come out and said that Poilievre has told them this or has had like a thumb over them, but they've remained anonymous. And so they're like a little bit whistleblowery. So it's I think it's right to call that unclear, but it is concerning to say the least. Voted to cancel school lunch programs. Unclear. No federal school lunch program existed until 2024, Bill C-69, which he opposed. No prior cancellation vote is evident. Voted against aid for Ukraine. False. Poilievre supported Ukraine aid. Bill C-47 in 2013, but opposed the 2023 Canada-Ukraine Free Trade Agreement over carbon tax clauses. A free trade agreement with Ukraine would definitively support Ukraine aid, so that might be a semantic problem. Voted for a $43.5 billion healthcare cut in 2012. Bill C-38 in 2012 adjusted health transfer growth rates, criticized as a cut by opponents. Poilievre voted for it, but it wasn't a direct slash. So again, yeah, framing. Voted for $198.1 billion to cut surgery and emergency funds. False. No such vote exists. Likely a mischaracterization of budget adjustments. False without evidence. Voted for Bill C-377, attack on unions. True. Bill C-377, 2012, required union financial disclosure. Poilievre supported it as a Harper MP. True. Voted to wield the notwithstanding clause. Unclear. Poilievre hasn't explicitly vowed this, but he's defended its use, i.e. 2022 comment on Quebec's Bill 21. publicly stated no support for pharmacare and dentacare. True, Poilievre criticized both the 2023 in 2023 speeches as costly and redundant. Supplied coffee and donuts to convoy truckers. You know, the convoy truckers that were terrorizing people in Ottawa. You know, the convoy truckers that were funded by Russia. You mean the convoy truckers that were waving swastika flags around? Yeah, supplied coffee and donuts. In 2022, Poilievre met convoy protesters and provided refreshments, praising their cause. Scapegoated Trudeau for inflation, interest rates, and air pollution fines. True, Poilievre's rhetoric in 2022-2023 speeches blames Trudeau for economic woes despite global factors and Bank of Canada autonomy. Air pollution fines claim is less document, but it fits his carbon tax critiques. Stated he will defund the CBC. True! Hey, yeah. If you don't know what the CBC is, that is like the Canadian Broadcasting, which is basically a taxpayer-funded educational and educational entertainment news stuff. So like TVO, things like kids educational programming. So it'd be like the equivalent of cutting PBS. So like things like Reading Rainbow and things like, you know, Sesame Street. It's that, but Canada. And so he's back to the Donald Trump rhetoric of we need to defund Big Bird. Yeah, we're back to this. Motherfucker. Yeah, pretty sure he has publicly refused to get top secret security clearance. Yeah. Those are some examples. If you want to just actually look at, instead of a Reddit thread, which, you know, admittedly needs to be fact-checked. It's a fact-checking thing, but they didn't link their sources. They just gave examples of the bills. Here you can go through if you're curious. This is ourcommons.ca members, EN for English, Pierre Poilievre, 25524 votes. So you can see, and you can look at anybody in our commons. You can look at any members and see their voting history. So if you are curious. So let's take, for example, let's House Government Bill. Concurrence at report stage bill C-79, an act for granting to His Majesty certain sums of money for federal public administration for the fiscal year ending of March 31st, 2025. Nay. All right, let's try another one. Let's take a look at these are like reports and motions, opposition to motions. Yeah, opposition motion federal sale tax on new homes. Yay. Opposition motion to oppose removing, like, to adjusting and making housing more affordable. Opposing motion cost of living. Nay. Opposition motion confidence in the Prime Minister. Yay. So for anybody who doesn't know what this is the vote of no confidence that they tried to pull off multiple times on Trudeau unsuccessfully. Let's take a look at another one. Here we go. 10th report of Standing Committee on Environment and Sustainable Development. Nay. Housing Government Bill. Nay. 12th report of the Standing Committee on Human Resource Skills and Social Development and Status of Persons with Disability. Nay. What else we got in here? Let's see. Third report for the Standing Committee on Public Safety and National Security. Nay. You know, somebody asked me on Blue Sky, and I was gonna share their thread with you, but they deleted it all. Where they demanded to know why regressive conservatives were blocking and getting in the way of any real progress being made either by the Liberal Party or any other parties looking like NDP or the Green Party, right? This is how. This is why. I told this person they had to wait till Tuesday for me to answer them. This is your answer. It's by literally dragging their feet, dishonestly and refusing to actually do the things that their constituents vote them to do. This motherfucker is literally just hanging around trying and doing everything he can to block any progress being made whatsoever, and when he thinks he can get away with it, run us fucking backwards. Like, you know, voting against gay marriage. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? The fuck does the government have to do with that? Fuck off. Like, come on. And you can look at his entire history, right? So if we go to the last one, for example, this is going back to, let's see, how far back did we go? This has gone back to 2021, right? And then there's like, you can download it. You can get it as a PDF. Ah, look, a housing bill. Nay. Oh, look, a housing bill. Nay. Oh, look, a house government bill. Nay. 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 Oh, that one he said yes on? Oh, yeah, good job. Income supplement. Motherfucker. Like I said, you want to put a pin in talking about whether or not Mark Carney's decisions as governor of the Bank of Canada could lend itself to the housing market being overly inflated. The Conservative Party has had and Poilievre specifically has had every opportunity to fucking do anything to ease this. And even when the Liberals are trying to do something to ease this, they refuse. They will not budge. They will not move. They refuse to work within the government in the capacity to move forward and make progress for the American people. They will stop, refuse to move, and do everything they can to pull everything backwards. That's regressive. But let's take a look. What the fuck is this guy fucking saying right now? Well, he's pretending not to be MAGA. Let's take a look. Does this sound like MAGA to you?
And we will end the radical, borderless, globalist ideology of the Liberal government.
Sorry, what was that? You want me to play that again?
And we will end the radical, borderless, globalist ideology of the Liberal government.
I will end the borderless, globalist ideology of the left. You don't get to police ideologies like that. You don't get to, even if you are the prime minister, you don't get to say the Liberal Party's not allowed to have ideologies. Not that the ones that he listed are true. This is authoritarian. That's how it works. He's telling the opposition party that he's going to tell them they're not allowed to think things and have ideologies or have a position. That's not how it fucking works. You don't get to do that. That is authoritarian. That is fascist. But the bill doesn't do it the right way. F off. They just don't do anything productive. Yes, absolutely, Feline. 100% true. Correct.
Out of control, borderless policies like the Century Initiative, which seeks to, where Mr. Carney and Mr. Trudeau have taken the advice of Mr. Wiseman, which is to expand our population to 100 million people.
These people want to end abortion rights, but then also say they want more people, but then also say that we don't want, not your way though, we want more people in Canada, we want more people having kids, but not when you do it, just when we do it. When we looked at Carney's policies, and one of the reasons I'm doing this is I think it's reasonable to compare the two, right? Because these are the two front runners. It seems to me, and maybe I'm wrong, so correct me, it seems to me that Mark Carney wants to expand our population and move and increase infrastructure to allow Canadians to expand and move northward. So we'd have more larger cities further north of the border. Because right now we're all squished up in this tiny little line, and we're incredibly dense. Our populations are incredibly dense. Hey David, good to see you. Incredibly fucking dense. And so one of the reasons why people don't move north is for jobs opportunities that aren't there and infrastructure that doesn't exist there. So if Mark Carney is like, we want to expand these places, make it more affordable, and make more jobs in places that will allow Canada to expand, which would help solve the housing crisis, by the way, then that's what we want to do. We want to expand our population and make these things doable. Poilievre sounds like he just wants to have his cake and eat it too. We want more people to have more fucking kids, but that's not how it works. They only want to have the right people, and will twist like a pretzel trying to explain who those people are without sounding incredibly racist. Probably because it's incredibly racist. Our kind, not your kind. Yeah, yep. Well, see, the people watching this show are fucking... You guys are on it. You know what's going on. And yeah, it is a crazy turnaround for the Liberals. Insane.
All more than doubling the population of the GTA when we're already in a housing crisis.
Those things aren't the same thing. You have people complaining. By people, I mean you have corporations complaining that they can't find people to hire, right? Which means the jobs exist. And there are people that aren't taking the jobs. Does that mean that there's not a large enough population to take the jobs? It might mean that there isn't a population willing to do the job for the price that there are lots of options, is what I'm saying. So just because there's a housing crisis, and the housing crisis isn't not having enough homes, or we're not able to build homes. Again, this motherfucker is trying to utilize this housing crisis as if he's not directly related to being the cause by literally voting against every single opportunity or every single way of trying to alleviate it. Do you see what I'm saying? Does what I'm saying make sense? Having our population expanded, having more free trade and immigration is not related inherently in a one-to-one to having a housing crisis. Bylaws, regulations, costs, mortgage loans, inflation in general, the cost of living are all... The wage gap right now is the largest factor into why people can or cannot afford homes. It is wealth inequality that is causing the housing crisis, for the most part. It's not the only thing. Certainly, none of these things are a one problem, one fix. But this inflation has had chances and had things brought forward to the government to be like, hey, we're gonna try to fix this. And they vote no every single fucking time. Approximately 10,000 vacant rental properties in the GTA right now. Is that suddenly because our population isn't big enough? Or is it because the people who are living here can't afford it? These are two separate issues that this motherfucker is dishonestly trying to conflate to say that you can't afford a house, there's a housing crisis, and they want to bring in immigrants. Not all those people from other countries, ew, and they're gonna take your jobs and they're gonna take your housing. Like, that's not how it fucking works. What's your plan to expand? At least when we were reading Carney's intentions, he seems to want to expand infrastructure. And expanding infrastructure means building new homes. If you want a good example, Brampton in Ontario recently opened up its end of the tram line or train that they've done that to connect some of these cities, to make traveling between them easier and more affordable. And guess what? 15,000 homes were built and are in the process of being built along the train line. Motherfucker. Yeah, there's a labor shortage, yet they steal jobs. There's a housing crisis, yet there's a population crisis. These things don't make sense. Because this is not how anything functions. It's just rhetoric to be like to try to like make you emotionally upset about a problem that doesn't exist in the way they're describing it. Don't get me wrong, there is a housing crisis. That's an issue. There are issues with our population. For example, if we have Social Security in Canada, that Social Security needs to be paid into. And if you don't have enough new people coming in to make that money to pay for that Social Security, you're going to have a crisis of Social Security. So you need to make the population larger. And if the population that's currently living there doesn't want to have kids, or isn't having children because of wealth inequality and they can't afford it, then the answer is you have to literally bring other people in to help bridge and maintain as you work to fix the issues. But the problem is these motherfuckers won't let us fix the issues. We have some businesses here that wouldn't operate without those foreign workers. Yeah, there's a lot of those. Again, this is not... They want to call this also globalist. That's not what that is. The housing crisis has been in the making since Harper, and it's not like it just popped up out of nowhere. Thank you. That was the thing I was saying. And again, you'll never guess who was part of the housing minister during Harper's fucking tenure. You'll never guess. You couldn't possibly know. You couldn't possibly figure out who that might have been and who was involved in that.
We have seen, we love immigration. We always had the best immigration system in the world.
We have the best immigration. We love immigration. We love our immigrants. Why are they bringing more immigrants in?
The best immigration system in the world. We brought in people with skills who could fill jobs and succeed in our country in numbers that our housing, healthcare, and job market could absorb. But liberals blew the system out of control, increasing population at 3 times the rate of our housing stock. They allowed fraud.
Motherfucker, there was a bill that was set up and already started that was approved by the government of Canada. And it got cut and cancelled when it was already started to build a bunch of new affordable homes. It was supposed to be low-income housing to help deal with the housing gap and the wage gap issues. You'll never guess who canceled it. You'll never guess who voted against it and stopped it after it was already ready and set to go. You'll never guess. This guy is literally using a problem that he created, trying to point fingers to say it wasn't him who did it, and that he's the guy who made the problem is gonna fix it. Motherfucker. May I also point out there is a housing crisis in the US, in the UK, in Scandinavia, and in a lot of places. I know there are towns like in Italy, etc., that are selling houses for a symbolic €1, but those are villages away from basic stuff. There are housing crises around the world. I hate to be their bearer of bad news, but Trudeau doesn't control the global housing market. It's this idea, and we've seen this when it comes to Aaron and Steve, right? We've seen this where, and you see it with any kind of fucking trolls, right? Oh, this person is infinitely powerful, but also infinitely stupid, and also infinitely powerless, and also I'm infinitely the strong person, even though I'm also constantly the victim, right? It's this mentality, it's this idea. These things aren't, when I'm sitting around talking about drama or I'm talking about an individual, these things are applicable across the board. Poilievre can't sit there and bitch and moan and say that the liberals have so much fucking power they can just do whatever they want, and then also say that, oh, well, actually, you're trying to have your cake and eat it too, right? I wouldn't be alive without that immigration. Thank you very much. My dad's family immigrated over after World War II. Housing crisis is the same in the US, not an actual lack of housing, but rather an issue of capitalism making it impossible to afford. Thank you. It's not like there isn't space in Canada. There are places that lack infrastructure, and it's the wage gap disparagement that's making it impossible. It's inflation that's making it impossible.
Fraud and abuse in the temporary foreign worker, international student, and in the other programs.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. When you say immigrant, who are you talking about? Are you talking about the kids that are coming over for a better education? Are you talking about families that are coming over to work seasonally and then taking their money back to whatever country they're from to feed their families? Or people that stay longer term for a handful of years to then send money back while they're living here? Like, which immigrants are you talking about? Or are you talking about Americans that are in our country illegally because we let them in because they're Americans and they're allowed to be here for 6 months with really no questions asked, and then they're supposed to go back, and then some of them just don't? Is that the type of foreigner you're talking about? Are you talking about people from other countries that come to live a better life and get better education? What are you talking about? Who are you referring to? Or is it just brown people? My unfinished journey for 222, Hail Nero and Gabo, and down with little PP. Ah, yeah, no, I agree. And here's the thing. They're paying taxes, and they're here legally, which means they're contributing to the economy, which means they're helping balance the budget. So when there's a housing crisis, and the housing crisis isn't because there's not enough space or not enough housing, and you get people to come in who can utilize that. You know what part of the housing crisis is? Foreign entities, not people, not foreigners. Foreign entities, businesses, buying up apartments and apartment buildings in a place like Toronto and then never renting it out and leaving it vacant because they don't care, they just want the property. And you know who put in rules and regulations to try to prevent them from happening? The liberal government. That was the liberals doing that to try to fix that, to be like, wait, whoa, hold on, no. If you're gonna do this, you need to actually live in these places. It's the liberal government that's putting in rules and regulations for what are they called? The fucking Airbnbs. Airbnbs that were taking houses and spaces off the markets. They've changed the rules and regulations around those things. Because those were contributing, and those were contributing factors and symptoms of this housing issue, and which is ultimately an issue of wage disparagement.
Common sense conservatives will reject. Canada First conservatives will reject the Century Initiative. We will end the abuse in those programs, reject fraudulent claimants, deport...
What fraudulent claimants? What are you talking about?
Criminals from this country.
Oh, they're gonna deport criminals from the country. Oh, wow. Where have we heard that before? Hey, yeah. Trump definitely doesn't like Pierre Poilievre. Trump and Pierre Poilievre are definitely not cahoots. They're definitely not doing the exact same fucking thing. Definitely not, right? You guys, right? That's what he said, right? Right? You guys are stupid, right? What are you fucking talking about? If somebody commits crime in Canada, it's our responsibility to deal with that. Deporting people willy-nilly means nothing. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Why would we not want to control our own legal system? Why are we trying... You know what this is? What's the word when you take a business and you move all of the when you move all of the workers and you take all the jobs and you move them? Outsourcing, right? They're trying to outsource our prison system? They're trying to outsource our fucking judiciary? What? What? Why do you want to outsource that? What are you talking about? Why would we want to do that? That's a terrible idea. We're already seeing how it's affecting America. Why would Canada want to follow suit on that fucking shit show? Are you stupid? Look how white this fucking crowd is. Good God. Ridiculous.
So that never again does our population grow faster than our housing, our healthcare, and our jobs.
Motherfucker, the only reason our jobs and our housing and our healthcare aren't growing is because of you. When you bring somebody in legally and they are working a job, they are paying taxes, and those taxes are going into the healthcare. It is literally functionally not possible for you to bring in more immigrants and not have the money to keep up the healthcare because it's a one-to-one system. Jesus fucking Christ! Can we deport this motherfucker? By the way, you'll never guess that he's married to an immigrant. Surprise, surprise, he's a fucking hypocrite. I will say this again. When you bring in immigrants via education, via workers' permits, via whatever the fuck, those immigrants are paying taxes, and those taxes go to things like making housing more affordable that Poilievre voted against, like making healthcare more accessible and dental, etc., making those things accessible and available. The immigration office, the individuals pay taxes, and those taxes are supposed to be used for things like education, for things like healthcare, for things like affordable housing. That's what they're for subsidies. That's the point. The government is not a for-profit industry, and even if it was, who's getting the money? Who's the profiteer? The country? For what? What are you talking about? It's not operating at a deficit in that regard. That's not how it works. It is literally not fucking possible. This is delusion. This is insanity. This doesn't make any fucking sense. Even just basic understandings. So where is there a net negative? And again, I would like to keep in mind, fucking old conservative voter, the people that are paying your social security shit and your medical expenses and subsidizing your stuff are the generations of people coming up, and those people can't afford to have families. And so because they can't afford to have families because of decisions you made to draw from them in the future, you bet against them, that they aren't able to have families, therefore they are not able to keep up the population growth necessary to maintain your style and level of living. Which means you need the immigrant people to come in to balance that amount of necessary money to be paid into taxes that are subsidizing you. This is basic fucking math. You want to live a good life when you're retired? You want to have a pension like Poilievre has? You want to know how crazy this motherfucker's pension is? It's fucking cracked. And you know who pays for it? Taxpayers. Taxpayers pay this motherfucker's shit. This motherfucker lives in a mansion. This motherfucker has a massive pension and lives in a mansion. And you pay for it. And he wants you to pay more. Because guess what? When there's more people to pay taxes, you actually pay less. Or you get better shit. Go fucking figure. Good God, it's almost like people just don't know what taxes are for anymore. And like, I don't know how we got this fucking stupid. You like having a road? Do you like having a library? Do you like having streetlights? Do you like having snowplows? Do you like having telecommunications cables? Do you like being able to like pick up a phone and fucking... No? You know, what the fuck? At least this guy doesn't do tariff bullshit. No, Padme. No. We're not. We can't do that today. We can't do that today. Yay, we're fucking stupid. Yay. You idiots. You fucking good goddamn morons. I can't believe this shit. Actual insanity. Actually insane. Side note, by the way, about just back to this Danielle Smith shit real quick. You know, why would a foreign nation that is banking on Canada's economy being weaker want to enable that country to choose the strongest candidate? Because America is currently viewing Canada as not just an enemy, but a target. So why would you want to do what Danielle Smith is requesting Trump and his administration do? Pension sounds like a handout. Erase it. Sounds like communism. Fucking communism, man. I don't know, but you tell me what you think. I don't. Holy shit. I'm not gonna go into Danielle Smith's history too much. She's a climate change denialist. She thinks that America was sending fucking chemtrail planes over top of Alberta. She let one of her cities burn down. She's been bankrupting the municipalities via tax cuts for the rich. Yeah, there's straight up full cities that are going bankrupt, that are not able to pay their police force. They are not able to pay their firefighters. They are not able to get like roads plowed and construction work done that maintains the roads in Alberta because they're going bankrupt because of Danielle Smith's driving of Alberta into the fucking ground. Which I would like to point out, when the Conservative Party was not in power in Alberta, they got to as close as possible of having zero debt whatsoever in their province. And the Conservative Party got into power and they've been driving it into the fucking ground. They are the most in debt. They are bankrupt. They have the largest gaps in wages. Why do you think they're such a target? Like the people who live there are such a target for these MAGA ideologies. Because these MAGA ideologies take advantage of people feeling disenfranchised. And the people in Alberta should feel disenfranchised. They should feel that. They're right to feel that way. But MAGA and this Maple MAGA ideology is directing their disenfranchised anger in the wrong direction. And when I say the wrong direction, I mean they're blaming people who are not in power instead of the people who are in power to do something about it. Again, the people in Alberta should be upset with the way that things in their province are, but it's not the Liberal federal government's fault. It is your provincial Conservative government that's done this to you. It's the same thing that Doug Ford did in Ontario. Doug Ford and the Conservative Party and Poilievre blamed Trudeau for COVID relief stuff and the lack of hospitals in Ontario, which completely ignores that the federal government gave the provinces the money for COVID, and then they mishandled it and didn't use it in a way that was effective. So they created the problem, then redirected the anger about it towards somebody who didn't do it, and then expected him to fix it. But if he did fix it, it would have been an overreach of federal government of what they're allowed to do. And it would have been imposing additional shit onto the provinces, which they're not allowed to do. They're basically demanding that Trudeau overreach with government and break the law and then say, oh, you're overreaching with government, so you're creating the problem. There was hundreds of thousands of dollars that was allocated to New Brunswick, to Ontario, for hospitals, and that money was never used. by those conservative members of parliament. And then they're blaming the federal, which is their purview. Your hospitals are directly under the administration of the fucking province. So the federal government gives them the money to do it, and then they have to do it. And they didn't do it, and then said, wow, we don't have enough fucking... Why don't we have enough nurses? Why don't we have enough hospital space? Why don't we have... Blah, 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 blah? Because you didn't spend the fucking money. You didn't invest the money properly, like the way you were supposed to. That was allocated for you. In addition to what you already had, because this is what fucking the federal government was putting into the pot. That's you bitching about how you mismanaged something, and you're just pointing the finger at other people, assuming everybody's disenfranchisement was gonna fucking make everybody fucking mad enough to not notice. And it worked! It's suddenly starting not to work anymore, because you know what you look like? Incompetent. It looks like you're fiscally incompetent. You're not fiscally conservative, you're fiscally stupid. And now suddenly the liberal parties look like, hey, look, we got a guy who's an economist who knows a lot about money. So all of the things you guys are complaining about that's about money, you know, he might be able to help you. He might be able to help you out. Motherfucker, Jesus Christ. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. We need more Dr. Tregan. Everybody needs more Dr. Tregan. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you for joining me. A little bit of a shorter one today, because I didn't feel like we needed me to rant for fucking 7 hours this time. I'll be back tomorrow. We're gonna talk about Jordan Peterson a little bit, but I also want to come back. I have a little surprise for you that's more like internet drama related, and it's all like Renelle and Steve and Aaron and stuff, and it's really fucking stupid. So we're gonna take a look at that. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm gonna get on out of here. I'm removing the goal because I was just with you. You had the whole time. Hope for Snoopy for 2 said, yeah, Chesh needs a drink after this. My Unfinished Sock for 2 said, don't be a little pee-pee, like and share the stream. Thank you so much, I appreciate that. And, Pimple Monk for 5 says, you see the game conservatives play is to say whatever they need to in the moment to get what they want, no consistent goals or values required. And I think I agree with that. There is, if we get one more super chat, I will honor the goal if it gets in before I go to leave. But one of the things that you will notice is very consistent and very problematic. And one of the reasons why I am more interested in following and seeing what Mark Carney wants to do is because he has a clear goal. And he has a clear, like, direction that he wants to go in. Even if I don't agree with how he wants to get us there, or even if I disagree about, like, maybe I don't like this thing, or maybe I don't like that thing, I'd still rather have, like, a clear direction and, like, some consistency in what we're trying to do, as opposed to this constant, regressive whining. Because that's all it fucking is. And we look at what happened in America. The fucking right-wing MAGA fucking extremists won. And what are they doing? Whining and bitching and moaning and complaining and sending out security fucking secret information in a group chat to somebody in Moscow. Like, what are we doing? What is happening? I don't want my country to go in the same fucking direction as this fucking on fire dumpster. Like, what is happening? Good God. Anyway, for the handful of Americans that because there's a couple of them that are very upset with me and have reported me allegedly to Homeland Security in America. Motherfucker, you didn't even need to bother to do the work, because apparently ICE is illegally searching people's private information and communications, and if you don't speak good enough about Donald Trump, they detain you at the border. And they've been doing that to Canadians. They've been doing that to French people, like they did it to a French scientist. They did it to another woman. Like, good fucking God. I will count that as reaching the goal. Thank you so much. That is Jason for 2 said, here's the one more needed, and my Unfinished for 2 that says, I'm just a little journey, but I can do this much. And I appreciate that. So let's see. We're at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That is 15, so I don't have to do a shot. But we'll count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Ooh, it's tequila. This is one I have not opened yet, as you can see. Hasn't been opened. This one is, so anybody doesn't get confused, because I've heard some fucking people being really stupid. This is tequila. This is not alcohol. It is flavored, it's spice. These are spices. These are hot sauces. So this one is just a tequila one. It's non-alcoholic. Because some people are fucking really goddamn stupid. I don't know how some people have survived, like, like, that their brain hasn't died from lack of oxygen because they forgot how to breathe. I don't know, man. So let's give it a whiff. It's very green. Ooh. I'm still gonna take the shot just because you guys were good sports. It's tangy. This one's a little bit like... This one's like a little bit of like pickle. Like it tastes a little bit like vinegar. It's good. I like this. Again, probably wouldn't just eat it. Oh, it feels warmer as it goes. I probably wouldn't just eat it, but this one I could see like, this would be a good wing toss. Did you hear that, EKC? It's hot sauce. It's hot sauce! Good God. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow. I might delay Peterson still a little bit more just because I'm fucking tired of listening to Peter. Like, I just don't want to. I just don't like him. Oh, I would like to point out, by the way, if you recall, the right-wing extremist circuit is something that Danielle and Pierre Poilievre were doing. Like, he was on before Trudeau announced his resignation. Pierre Poilievre was on with Jordan Peterson. So, you know. Have I brushed up on my Klingon? You got a Klingon dictionary for the next Star Trek? I do have a Klingon dictionary. I have not brushed up on it yet, but I really should get on that. We do have a Klingon on the ship, but you'll have to join us over on Top Hats Off to go find that out. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to get on here. We have on Saturday coming up over on Debate Hub. It is... we have Debate Pub. So we're going to be talking politics over there with Dapper, Manya, and Landon on Saturday. So thank you so much for joining me. Check us out there. And the centrist one with Seamus was delayed until the Sunday, but that is on Sunday now. So go and check us out over there. Thank you so much. I've been Chesh, your master debater, host of Debate Hub. Please join us over there. Thank you so much. And I'm going to get out of here. Bye-bye. Jesus Christ, I need a fucking drink. Good God.